Okay, so today's class, thank you for coming, will be about conversation and communication, because we've had a conversation class all semester, but we haven't really talked about what makes a good conversation or a bad conversation, or about body language, and they're important in English communication, just like any other language. And I thought I would talk today about some English expressions and idioms we have about conversation, and what we can think about what makes a good or bad conversation. So because there is one student, because it's near the end of semester, I thought we will try and have a small conversation. So let's begin. So first, what makes a good conversation? A conversation that is interesting and easy. I find it easy to talk to someone if they seem approachable, relaxed. I don't like it when people talk to me, if I don't know them, about very serious things. It makes me feel uncomfortable if someone I've just met wants to know everything about my life. I don't find that an easy conversation. What makes a good conversation for you?
Well, actually, to me, I'm a woman and I'm a related woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mom,
Mm-hmm.
so the topic just related to
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So that'll be more interesting
Mm-hmm.
and easy.
Mm-hmm.
And the vocabulary are not so difficult.
Yes. So I guess is this when you're talking in English? Is there a difference, do you think, in the topic between English and Korean, which you like to talk about?
Of course, Korean is my
Of course.
first language, so it's more easier. But I also am interested in talking about something in English too.
Mm-hmm. Good. And so, what makes a bad conversation? So, what makes something uninteresting or difficult?
Well, actually, I'm not good at talking about scientific or economic or politics. So
Yes.
I don't like that kind of topic.
I agree. If someone is talking to you about something you don't know much about, you feel uncomfortable.
That's right.
I feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Definitely. For example, in the UK, when people meet a stranger, sometimes they ask, "What soccer team do you support? What sports do you like?" Since I don't like any sport, I go, "Oh, sorry, I don't like any." And the person thinks, "Why?"
Yeah.
That's difficult for me. Good. So, we're going to talk here about starting a good conversation. So, how can we start a good conversation? So, before we watch the short movie, the short video clip, how can we start a conversation? Maybe with someone we don't know. Do you do that often?
Well, start conversation. Well, I sometimes start with about my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever done this, or have you ever been to like that?
Mm-hmm. Good. So you're trying to create a relationship with the person, like shared common things that you've done. Good. So let's have a good about starting conversation and what makes a good conversation, and let's see whether we agree. So this is a reading task. Right, let's begin. I'm just going to check the sound is on. Yep. I will. Right, so this is the first tip for starting a good conversation. Say the first words clearly, because first impressions do count. Have you heard that phrase, first impressions count before?
To count?
And
There's an expression?
it's normally first impressions count. First impression, but this person's put do in between it. But what do you think this means, first impressions count?
It gives very strong feeling
Mm-hmm.
about me.
Yes.
Somebody, so it's very important.
Good. When you meet a stranger for the first time, they judge you or make ideas about you. So you only get one chance. And this happens at a job interview, first impressions count, and also in like social life as well. So say the first words clearly. If you start a conversation mumbling, it doesn't really set a good impression. What about the next tip? Okay, be energetic and enthusiastic to kick off the conversation. So kick off the conversation is another idiom, and that means to get started. When you play soccer, when you start the soccer match, they take the ball to the middle of the soccer pitch, and the one player will kick the ball to start the game. So when we start a conversation, we say kick off the conversation.
So start the conversation, the same meaning of kick off.
Kick off the conversation, yeah. It's like an everyday idiom.
Okay.
So if you don't know somebody, you should be energetic and enthusiastic to kick off the conversation. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my job.
So be energetic and enthusiastic to kick off the conversation. So if you want to start a conversation with someone, you need to have high energy. Do you like people to be too energetic when they're talking to you?
Yep, if they are interested.
Okay. If they're interesting, good.
Yeah.
But sometimes does it feel strange if the person talking to you is too energetic?
Very strange.
So you can be enthusiastic but not too enthusiastic. We're talking about conversation today, so that's our topic. Okay, always use the person's name to build rapport. Rapport means understanding, a feeling of understanding the person, liking them. So when you meet somebody for the first time, at least in English-speaking cultures, you should always use the person's name to build rapport, which means, hi, what's your name? My name's Chris. And hey, Chris, what do you think of this? Chris, when did you do this? Chris. You should use the person's name a lot. That makes them feel like they have a relationship with you. Does it work that way in Korea?
Yeah, if somebody calls my name, it will be more friendly. Feel friendly.
What do you think about people using your name a lot when they speak to you?
Well, I don't know. Yeah. But what is the topic?
Conversation, making conversation.
Making conversation.
So when somebody's speaking to you, you don't know very well, do you like it if they keep using your name?
I don't like it.
Same here. If it's somebody who I've just met and they keep using my name, especially in a store, in the UK, if you go to a store and to buy something, sometimes they ask you what your name is, and they'll keep using your name because they know that if they use your name, it builds rapport. It's a psychological trick which makes you feel trust for somebody. So that's what we mean by rapport, a feeling of trust and understanding. So you should always use the person's name to build rapport. And it's true that if we use somebody's name, we think that they have remembered us and that they care about us.
So build rapport means build a relationship?
Yes, build a relationship, build understanding. And it's not in English, it's taken from French, which is why it sounds different from other English words, rapport. Okay, be friendly, smile, and always keep the conversation light. So we don't mean light as in being able to see, but light as in not heavy. So this is a phrase, light conversation and heavy conversation. So light conversation is about the weather, your children, your favorite food. Heavy conversation would be about philosophy or politics, something serious. So when you meet a stranger for the first time, you don't really have heavy conversation. It's too serious. Okay, be in informed on today's most interesting topic. So informed means to know about, informed, to understand, to know about today's most interesting topics. So what's happening in the news often makes a good topic of conversation.
Do you know what is the most interesting topic near around today?
Today, the election, is that right?
That's right.
The presidential election.
You know who is the number one?
I think it's between Park Geun-hye
That's right.
and Moon.
문재인?
Yes,
Moon-jae.
thank you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know their parties.
And by the way, you know Anchersu?
He was a rich businessman who dropped out of the
Yeah,
election.
drop down.
Mm.
Seoul National University director.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he's very much computer skiller,
Mhm.
computer software programmer. But he is retired from Korean president election
Mhm.
because he knows the fact he begged to select as a president, Korean president. He
Mhm.
knows it because he's very smart.
Mhm.
Maybe he will come back 5 years later.
Mhm.
Yeah, he grabbed the power of Korea.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
So is this a interesting topic for conversation with people in the street? So people do not feel shy about sharing their ideas about who they will support?
They just hiding who are they are going to vote.
Okay,
they
right.
just talk online.
Mhm.
Even the between the elementary school.
Mhm.
they talk.
Really?
I like
Oh my God.
I like Park Geun-hye. I like just like this. I
Fro-
like Park Geun-hye, I like
because
Moon-jae.
from their parents.
Mhm.
Okay, so good. So politics can be an interesting topic of the day, what is happening in the newspaper. Okay, take charge but let others have their say. Balance, give and take. So by take charge it means to be dominant, to control the conversation, take charge. But let others have their say. So this common phrase, let others have their say, what do you think that means?
Let somebody gives a chance to talk.
Yes.
Just dominate whole class.
Yes. In a class or conversation, if you don't let others have their say, it means that it's just your voice being heard. Only one person is talking. So if you let others have their say, it means it's a balanced conversation. And this is where we get the popular phrase, give and take. So you could say, you need give and take in a good relationship. And give and take means you give, you let people do something, and then you take in return. So it's a shared thing. Okay, and there are some topics, especially for example, in my own country, you should avoid sensitive topics with strangers, like politics, religion, and sexual orientation. People don't like to feel like their private life is being invaded or someone's judging them. So it's not polite to ask questions on these topics. Do Koreans have some taboo topics which you shouldn't talk about?
Yeah.
Choice is strange.
Some that's called with political
Mm-hmm.
while they are drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they go to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to pay a lot of fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as I think so Korea has no problem about that kind of topic.
Mm-hmm.
But another country can understand that. Particularly in they are always very sensitive about their religion.
Mm-hmm.
As I think they are not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange.
For example, if you invited different friends to a party, if you picked any of these topics to talk about, people would think, oh, you might start some trouble, especially if people have different religions or political beliefs. And actually, I find that if I meet a stranger and they ask if I have any religion, I feel a bit kind of like, why do you want to know? Especially in the street. Okay, so be interested in who you talk to and they will respond positively. So what do you think respond positively means here?
That's very important. Yeah, some people hate negatively. Yeah, because so when someone talks about something, another guy sometimes have to say yes, even if another guy don't agree with someone's opinion.
And also, you can tell when somebody is not interested in what you're saying. Yeah.
There is a positive way.
Yes, it can be a way of showing agreement, but also it can be a way of being like, At least in English, when we go, it's a way of going, yeah.
So what is it? That's not you really saying.
In English, you can go, really be listening, and the person thinks you're being very positive, but a lot of the time, if someone's talking and you're just going, yeah, it's kind of not being interested. So you should respond positively by showing agreement. Yeah, I agree, yes, but also saying other things to respond positively.
Sarcastic?
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, what do you think makes it easy to talk to somebody? Who do you find the easiest people to talk to? Do you think? Who? What kind of person is easy for you to talk to in your life?
The guy who has a sense of humor.
Okay, so a good sense of humor.
The guy who has, who know another guy's requirement. The kind of guy, make it easy to talk to someone.
Okay, so someone who is like you and has a sense of humor.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
There is Korean people don't like my style sometimes because I'm very stubborn but I'm very boring. But
why do you think that you're boring?
because my Korean language is very unique.
Okay.
Even if I was born in Seoul, and I always try to speed it up, in my opinion. But most Korean people, they're conservative and don't speed it up all the time. They hide something, and maybe Professor, you know him. Yeah, Asian people hide his real heart always, but Western or American, they don't do like that. But then sometimes they also behave like that. I know Western or American also, but Korean people is bad conservative.
Maybe people have different conversation styles and show different expressions on the outside as well. Who do you find it easy to talk to? What kind of person? You kind of mentioned before that if
the topic they share, have common topic.
Good. Things in common. So conversation styles. So passive, dominant, direct and indirect. So do people have different conversation styles and why? So passive means to agree to everything. Passive means to go with what other people say. So a passive person will be asked a question like, what do you think? And a passive person will say, oh, whatever you want to do. I agree. Yes. I agree. What do you want to do? Passive. Dominant. A dominant person is in charge. Let's do this. I want to do this. Come with me. Do this. Dominant. Direct. The direct person says what they think. So, I don't think you did a good job. I don't think you should do that. Why don't you do this? You look bad today. That's direct. And indirect. So, direct is you didn't do a good job. Indirect is, maybe next time you could do something different. So indirect is they want to say the same thing, but they go in a different way. So What style do you think is yours, actually? For me, it depends on different people. For example, if I'm feeling tired or I'm with my family, I can be quite passive. Yes, I'll do what you'd like to do, that's fine. If I'm with friends I know well, I can be very direct. And if I'm with people in everyday life, probably quite indirect. I have to watch what I say, I think.
The question is very easy, I think, because people has different character. Yeah, it depends on their character, personality. Yes, some guys are very direct, some guys are very indirect. That kinds of stuff.
What do you think your style is?
I'm very direct person. I'm very layer person in Korea because I'm Korean.
Okay.
Even if I'm Korean, I'm very frank. As I think I understand frank is very important. Yeah, most of them hide their real heart because they hide real heart, real truth. It means they try to deceive another guy to make much money or blah blah blah. It isn't that good situation.
Good. So you can use a different conversation style to hide your real intention, or because it's just easy as well. I think it's quite easy to be passive in conversation. It makes your life easier. What style do you think is your style?
I never be a dominant or direct.
Okay, right.
Sometimes people get hurt being direct or dominant topic. But if I doing something that important, then dominant is okay, but direct is not good.
And the last question on this slide: are conversations different between men and women? And by this I mean their conversation style or the things they talk about, do you think? Or when men are with women, do they talk in a different way from if they are with other men? And do women talk a different way if they're talking to men and not other women? Topics or style? What do you think?
Men like about talking about shopping. Really?
Okay. What about, for example, what is the difference between a man talking to a woman he knows well and doesn't know well? What kind of things they choose to talk about? Is it relaxed or?
Yeah, relaxed. When I'm talking to a woman, I feel relaxed because woman is weaker than man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that because?
Yeah, people also, human being also animal. If I am already, yeah, the woman also red. I feel comfortable, but I'm with lion or another animal, I feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
So you feel like you have a more dominant role in the conversation?
Oh yeah.
But do you feel comfortable in that kind of conversation, or do you like to feel like an equal?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think people have different conversation styles. So some like to have a dominant approach, and others like to have a more equal approach. Especially in a marriage as well, I think, or a long-term relationship. If someone is more dominant, it can have a very different kind of marriage to one where it's more equal, maybe. Okay, so the difference between a conversation and an argument. Now, an argument is obviously something very angry and loud, but often they start from conversations. So you could start a conversation like, we need to talk. Hey, I have a problem with you. And it starts nice and polite as a conversation. But when do you think it turns into an argument?
Yeah, it depends on people. Friend or lover or family. Yeah, it depends on people. What kind of people? Maybe it's when someone said to me about my privacy, it turns into argument. Yeah, about my private, sensitive private thing. Yeah, someone speed up, another guy is very upset, we're being angry and quarreling and argument. Yeah, starting. It is starting.
So when someone chooses a topic which is sensitive to you, is private, it can turn something into an argument. When do you think a conversation becomes an argument?
If somebody just insists on his own opinion, then you start, argument.
And it's very hard to do because sometimes when I've talked to people, I start the conversation thinking, I'll be patient, I'll listen, I have a problem, but it'll be solved. But my body language or my anger just turns it into an argument. And it's very hard to turn an argument back into a conversation. Wow. So polite and taboo topics. We've kind of done this before, but in general, a taboo means unacceptable, forbidden, or avoided. So what are taboo topics of conversation for you and for your wider society, do you think?
You don't ask about the weight or age.
Yes. Asking if you ever asked anyone in the UK, if you ever asked a stranger how much they weighed, or even a friend how much they weighed, the person would feel extremely offended. Appearance, weight.
And how much money do you make monthly?
Yes. And also what grades you got at school as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Anything which might make you feel bad as well. Definitely a taboo topic. Okay, some things are easier to say face to face. So face to face when you're in front of a person, and some things are easier to say on the phone. So what conversations do you think are easier to have face to face or by phone?
By phone.
Okay, why do you choose the phone?
Because I can say all of things.
Okay.
Yeah, because he cannot hit me.
Okay. So you can be honest because you don't think someone will come and attack you. Okay. What do you think? Which is easier?
Nowadays I find this one, the kato, the message, send a message, more comfortable because I can write down my thought, my thinking clearly. So sometimes when I talk to face, I just forgot what I have to talk. But for the message, I can write it down.
Yeah, I agree. Also, if you're having to give bad news, sometimes it's easier to do it by phone or text message, kakao. For example, I cannot make the meeting, I cannot see you. Some people even find it easier to end a relationship, to break up with someone on the phone and by kakao. Because if you have to meet them, it's awkward. But then sometimes if the conversation is going to take too long to type on the phone, it's just easier to meet in person. So what conversation should you never have on the phone and have in person, do you think?
Not to try to say, direct conversation on the phone, no.
Most people would not think it was respectful to end a relationship on a phone. Or to make... Some people need to see your body language and see kindness or how you feel. So if you want to tell your mother that you're worried about her weight or her health or a sensitive taboo topic, you wouldn't say it on the phone, I think. You might try and be in person and be kind.
It's very different. Depends on the situation.
Good. So here are some expressions and idioms about conversation and the types of people that have conversation. So, strike up a conversation. So when we light a match, you go and it lights it. That's called striking a match. So it means to start something from nothing. So strike up a conversation. This means to start a conversation with a stranger. somebody you don't know, and it's often used to describe when somebody starts talking to a stranger on public transport or at a party. So for example, Andy is so confident he can strike up a conversation with strangers. So generally, I do not like to strike up conversation with strangers because sometimes I don't know whether I can speak the same language as them, or I will never see them again, so I feel awkward, not very confident, so striking up a conversation. Do you find it easy to strike up a conversation with a stranger? Do you think?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it's very easy.
Okay, you find it easy?
I can talk about all of people, yeah.
Okay.
Even if she's very, very pretty, I can speak about all of them.
Okay.
And not sarcastic, very polite.
Okay.
Maybe she fell in love with me.
Okay. So you're very confident at striking up conversations?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I know her style and idea.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing. Ah, very easy.
To hog the conversation. So a hog is an old name for a pig in English. Not used very much anymore, but maybe 100 years ago if you said hog, people would know that it was a pig. So if you hog the conversation, that means that you are greedy and you want to control the conversation, just like a pig. So if somebody hogs the conversation, it means they are dominant and have to talk the most. So if you're at a family meal and I am talking a lot, my sister will say, "Chris, stop hogging the conversation." So like a hog, they are greedy with the conversation. So it's not good in a conversation if you hog it, if you hog the conversation. Pulling teeth. This is an interesting expression. So when you take somebody's teeth out at the dentist, you pull it out and it's very painful and you suffer. So when you're talking with someone and it's difficult or boring or hard work, we describe it as being like pulling teeth out. So for example, my neighbour is so boring. Talking to her is like pulling teeth. So you feel when you're talking to them, it's so boring and so painful and such hard work. It feels like your teeth are being pulled out. When did you ever have this feeling?
When I saw a Christian,
Okay.
it's very boring, pulling tooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. For you, what kind of conversation feels like it's pulling teeth?
Somebody who doesn't, who the I don't.
For example, sometimes my brother has introduced a new girlfriend who is very boring. And because I'm his brother, I must be polite. But I feel like it's pulling teeth because, what do you like to do? Oh, nothing. Okay. Hey, do you want to go do this? No, it's okay, I'll just stay at home. That's the kind of conversation that pulls teeth. It's hard work. A shrinking violet. This flower is called a violet in English. And a shrinking violet is a shy and private person who does not like to take part in conversations, especially with people they do not know. And a violet is a flower which will close up when the sun is bright or it doesn't have enough water. So it's a very sensitive flower. And so an example could be, my daughter is very quiet, she's a shrinking violet. So it's kind of an adjective, an idiom we use to describe people who are quiet and shy, normally girls, a shrinking violet.
Wow.
And the violet is this flower that closes up easily. So a shrinking violet.
Yeah, but shrinking barrel is very loyal. Is it right?
Loyal?
Yeah.
Why do you think that they're loyal?
I just ask you. Ask a professor.
Yeah, I think that maybe they will not share your secrets. They'll be quiet and loyal.
And loyal.
Loyal?
Yeah. Loyal.
R-O.
To family.
Oh, loyal, yes, of course, yes. Loyal to family and friends, yes, because they are quiet and reserved.
Yeah, I love shrinking barrel.
My sister was like this when she was young. Now that she is an adult, she wasn't, but as a young girl, very quiet, a shrinking violet. They're very difficult to have conversations with. Do you know somebody like this who you could describe as a shrinking violet?
Yeah, I see many students in my class.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know reaction,
Mm.
response.
Yes.
In case it's very difficult for me to even teach them.
Yes. A social butterfly. So a social butterfly is a very social person who likes to talk, is popular, and has many friends. So like a butterfly, they fly around parties talking to many different people. So have you ever watched a butterfly fly between different flowers very quickly? Looks very nice. So we use this to describe someone who's confident and likes to talk to many different people. They have many friends, they always look relaxed. So she has so many friends, she's such a social butterfly.
Maybe I just saw one Korean girl.
Okay?
Yeah, but most of them are not very social butterfly.
Okay.
They just try to a rich guy, to make money, or to require to get a profit, a job or job improvement.
This kind of person is very good at trying to find people who might help them or use them, be useful to them at a party, a kind of social butterfly.
Social butterfly is a very nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they are not social butterfly.
Yes, it's interesting that this expression is used often to describe people who like to talk to many people, but they may not have many close friends. And they look very pretty like a butterfly, but maybe they're not to be trusted. A chatterbox. A chatterbox is somebody who likes to talk a lot. They are very outgoing. And this is a very popular English-speaking book called Little Miss Chatterbox. So they're a series of books about different things like Mr. Greedy, Mr. Happy, and Little Miss Chatterbox. So it's someone who talks very quickly. It's difficult to finish a conversation with them. So maybe you know a chatterbox. So for example, my best friend is such a chatterbox. He'll talk on the phone for hours. So a chatterbox is someone who talks very, very quickly. And it's very hard to finish a conversation with them because you can never say, hey, I have to go. It's like all the time.
I don't like it.
You don't like a chatterbox?
I just made a choice
Mm-hmm.
listening to me on radio
Mm-hmm.
or TV. It is more interesting inside.
Mm-hmm.
Why I have to listen to them all time?
Mm-hmm.
I think life is better show.
Good.
I need to save my time.
Mm-hmm. So a chatterbox can be quite greedy with a conversation, very talkative. They can be fun if you're tired. I mean, sometimes I have friends who are very lively and they're a chatterbox, and if I want to just sit there and listen to them, it's quite nice. But if all my friends were a chatterbox, it would be too much. Clam up. So a clam is a shellfish that opens and closes its shell. So here is the clam. So a clam is someone who, when you're talking to them, you can feel them go and close up. So when somebody clams up, it means they suddenly close up in a conversation, usually because they are upset or do not know what to say. So I get so nervous talking to new people, I just clam up. So sometimes I feel this when I'm talking to someone. I might say something which makes them feel bad inside, and I can feel them go, and the conversation is over. So we can also use this expression, for example, if you are normally a very confident person, but suddenly you have to give a presentation or project to 100 people, you could feel so nervous that you would just clam up and you couldn't speak. So we use that expression. What makes you clam up? Do you ever clam up?
Yeah, when I'm 20, I just clam up in front of educated person. Because I know their style. It is also my style. I didn't reveal my style in front of a strong guy or strong woman. Yeah. But it is just my style. I just to stay at that, all of things, style, talking, opinion, and I'll take that when I prepare for something.
So if you feel threatened or unsure, you feel like you want to clam up.
Yeah, I just clam. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel a very strong person.
Hmm. What makes you want to clam up?
If it's in an uncomfortable situation, that makes me clam up.
Hmm. Is there a similar expression in Korean for this kind of feeling where suddenly you can feel confident and talk, but suddenly you just feel like you don't have a mouth anymore?
In Korean,
Mm.
I think we have.
Because yeah, the clam. And I don't know why the clam is chosen, maybe because it looks a bit like a mouth, it opens and closes.
Yeah, maybe kids.
Yes.
Yeah, children.
People also like to draw little eyes on top of the shell, like to look like a little person in its mouth.
Isn't that good? Because these days society is very complicated, and we are in very rival mood. Yeah, we have to fight against another guy to get a better one. Yeah, society. Yeah, worldwide, the economy is not good worldwide. Yeah, they cannot survive in this world.
Mm. You're right. So people who are like a shrinking violet or who clam up, they find it difficult to get good jobs because they can't talk to people. It can be very difficult. Okay, so just before we have a break and some cake, memorable conversations. So what conversation do you most remember? Why is this? So you could choose, for example, the most important conversation you had, and can you remember exactly what was said? So if someone was to say, what conversation in your past was most important to you, what would you choose? And can you remember exactly what they said?
Not exactly, but
No.
just one word.
Okay.
Just remember the mood.
Yeah. Can you describe that conversation and the mood for me? If it's too private, you don't have to share, but one conversation that you would like to share.
Well, recently I just talk about the movie we just watched it.
Mhm.
It was really good.
Mhm.
So yeah.
It was memorable?
Conversation.
Okay. What about for you? What conversation do you most remember?
Yeah, the picture.
Mm-hmm.
The picture, which the experience, yeah, the travel with my friend,
Okay.
my tour,
Mhm.
the things
Mm-hmm.
the things that which I want a game, video game or StarCraft 1, 2 or soccer, basketball, real game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just remember it all the time and speed it up. When I feel bad to my friend, I won the game. Do you remember it?
Mm-hmm.
And I am better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When my friend is rude me, yeah, I just speed up.
So you can remember what happens and remind them, tell them about it.
Yeah,
To feel, yeah.
that's right.
And so many people cannot remember exactly what was said. If I think about my life and my memories and conversations, I think there are only a few phrases I can remember people exactly saying. Most of the time it's the feeling, where I was, how I felt like. I cannot remember exactly what was said. Okay, and a not very serious question before our break. Who would you most like to have a conversation with, past or present? You can maybe spend a minute thinking. These aren't the people I would most like to have a conversation with, but they were famous people that I saw. So who would you most like to talk to, past or present? So today or a long time ago?
Clinton.
Who? Clinton. Okay. Why would you like to talk to President Clinton?
Clinton's sexual harassment.
Okay.
It's bad bombing and exactly.
Okay. So it would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Actually, I don't like Obama and George Bush. Yeah, Bush. I don't like it.
Okay.
I like Clinton.
Do you think he'd be good at conversation?
Yeah. When I heard the news, Korean sexual harassment, it's very boring because Korean president, even if Korean president did sexual harassment, they will not accused by prosecutor. Yeah, because Korea is very decayed society.
I think Clinton would also be a good conversationalist because he was trained to speak publicly, so maybe he can be a very good person to talk to. Who do you think?
Well, recently I listened to a song, song by One Direction.
Okay.
I like that song a lot, so yeah, I really want to talk about something with them.
Okay.
So that would be very good conversation.
They're very young and enthusiastic, so they might be quite fun to talk to.